Item number SCP-3019. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-3019, also referred to as COVID-19, is currently spread to hundreds of thousands of people across the globe and has yet to be completely contained successfully. The general public has been instructed to stay safe by taking precautions such as physical distancing, wearing face masks, keeping rooms well ventilated, avoiding crowds and close contact, regularly washing hands, and coughing into elbows or a tissue. If an individual wishes to seek further precautions, has come into contact with someone who tested positive, or has tested positive themselves for SCP-3019, both isolation and quarantine are methods of preventing the spread. These precautions have been advised by the World Health Organization. It is to be noted that SCP-3019 is publicly known. Description: SCP-3019 is a highly infectious disease caused by a newly discovered coronavirus. The virus spreads primarily through droplets of saliva or discharge from the nose or mouth when an infected person coughs or sneezes. The most common symptoms of SCP-3019 include fever, dry cough, or fatigue. Other symptoms that are less common, yet still may affect some of those infected, include loss of taste or smell, nasal congestion, conjunctivitis, sore throat, headache, muscle or joint pain, different types of skin rashes, nausea or vomiting, diarrhea, and chills or dizziness. People of all ages who experience fever and or cough associated with a difficulty of breathing or shortness of breath, chest pain or pressure, or loss of speech or movement have been asked to seek medical care immediately. If an individual receives SCP-3019, they have approximately an 80% chance for survival without needing to be hospitalized. About 15% of those diagnosed with SCP-3019 become seriously ill and will require oxygen. The remaining 5% become critically ill and will need intensive care. Pre-existing conditions that significantly increase the potential for death include high blood pressure, heart and lung problems, diabetes, obesity, or cancer. While these underlying conditions can increase the risk of developing serious illness, anyone can get sick with SCP-3019. Addendum 3019-1. The following audio log is the perspective of student who currently attends the University of, who was quarantined due to close contact with someone who tested positive for SCP-3019. The student was first asked how SCP-3019 affected his schooling before his quarantine.
My school's precautions seemed pretty fair and safe for the most part. Thank God that we were still open, because I honestly don't think I could perform as well as I do grade-wise if my classes at least weren't partially in person or synchronous, But on campus though, I didn't struggle that much with following the rules and precautions given by the school and the CDC and stuff. It was just frustrating not being able to do some of the activities and stuff that I really enjoy, like singing in a full choir or doing theater shows, for example. And obviously I know it's for the safety of others, so I'm not really that upset about it, and I can't complain too much because it is more important that people are safe and stuff. So, but I think that most students and staff have followed all the regulations and stuff pretty well. Um, it's a little frustrating though sometimes when like I'd see like a teacher, or even like not even a teacher, just like students. Oh, it's usually not the teachers. What am I saying? When I see students or teachers though, like not wear their face masks properly, it's like when it's like just below their nose, it's like, oh, you're so close to being good. Just move it up just slightly. But honestly, like, we're this far into it, and I think people are just gonna wear it how they kind of want to at this point. But like, I'll still totally follow the CDC and World Health stuff and campus health advisory stuff when I need to do. So yeah.
The student was then asked to describe what quarantine was like for him.
About 1.5 weeks ago, my quarantine ended, and I would say that I was one of the lucky ones. I never even had COVID-19. My quarantine wasn't that bad, really, because the University of allowed me to quarantine at my house. But each day I was monitored. I say I was monitored. I monitored my symptoms. I'd like take my temperature, make sure I could smell by smelling something. And then I'd ask my parents too, like if they had anything. And thankfully, like nobody like felt anything. I didn't feel anything. I didn't have a fever. No one at my house got sick. But under the rest of the quarantine, it was all every day. It was like the same thing pretty much. I would sleep in a lot, and then I would get up, eat breakfast, and start whatever homework I had and could do, or I'd play some video games or whatever. Because I'm a music education major, so I fell behind in like at least a little bit in like all of my classes, because for a lot of them you need to have some form of synchronous or in-person part to even have like an idea with what's going on, which is probably true for like other majors too, but just as like from the perspective of mine being a music ed student. Yeah. But anyways, I would spend like most of my days just cooped up in my room, only really leaving to make myself food or use the restroom. For the first like week or so, I kept taking my dogs on walks, which was nice because it allowed me to get out of the house and stop staring at the same four walls, I guess. Food-wise, though, I'd usually just eat whatever I could make in the kitchen, and some days my parents would bring me food, which is very nice. But, yeah, some people, like, I don't know, Putnam Hall is pretty scary here at university, just because, like, it's literally just 4 rooms, a bed, a desk, and that's all you get, and then it's just, like, other stuff, so I'm very thankful that my parents were able to come and get me and, allowed me to be there, and they felt comfortable doing that, so I'm very blessed.
The student was then asked if his quarantine, due to close contact with a carrier of SCP-3019, had any effect on his parents living within his home.
Yeah, so my dad was actually out of town doing like his yearly deer hunting trip in, so he didn't really have anything to worry about that much, at least for like the beginning of my quarantine. My mom was home with me, but we took pretty good precautions, I'd say, during the first week of my quarantine. Like, for like when she like picked me up from, she and I, like, we both wore masks in the car, and then like we had the windows down and everything, and I tried to avoid talking and breathing in her direction for the whole ride, basically. And then once we got home, I just kind of brought everything in my room alone, and I just kind of went, it was late anyway, so I just went straight to bed. But it was the weekend when my quarantine started, so my mom, who happens to work at the local high school, was also home. And, she would come and check on me in a mask and, like, chat with me for a little bit about school and wanted to see how I was feeling and stuff, and which was good because luckily I felt good the whole time, so, we didn't run any risk during that time. But, yeah, we'd also talk when I'd, like, come out and make food and stuff, which was nice too, so I never really felt like that isolated from people, because like if I wasn't talking to my mom, I could talk to my friends online that I play video games with or whatever. So eventually though, my mom did, however, like we became a lot more lax with the quarantine stuff, just because I got my test back and it was negative, and I still didn't have symptoms, and I was just hanging out, so I still didn't go anywhere. I still stayed in my house, but I was just really lax at my house. But I think, though, one of the biggest things I'm thankful for, and is kind of the silver lining in all of this pandemic, though, is just how much I've grown in my relationships in life that are really gonna matter. I feel like, I've never been closer to my parents or my brother and my friends that I play video games with, which is kind of bad that I've been playing so many video games with them. But I really feel like I'm very happy actually now. In the beginning, it was definitely very rough mentally. It was draining, constantly running around and worrying about those around you and stuff. But I think I'm doing a lot better, and I think most people are kind of getting through it. And I think if there is people who are still struggling, I think that there's more resources out for them now that can help people. So yeah, I'm very thankful for my friends and my family in these troubling times, and they continue to inspire me to stay positive and look towards my still bright future.
That was the end of Addendum 3019-1. This concludes the documentation of SCP-3019.